There are at least 3 ways to build any EDH commander. Strong, fun, and mean. Let's look at the 3 ways that I would build Kalamax, the Stormsire in EDH, and the video starts right now. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below. Hello and welcome to the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Jeweler Magic. I am Joel. We're going to talk about Kalamax, the Stormsire in EDH, but first, if you liked the video by the end of it, consider hitting that like button and that subscribe button. That lets me know you want to see more videos like this. The elemental dinosaur itself, Kalamax, the Stormsire. Get your spells right back with Kalamax. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, if Kalamax the Stormsire is tapped, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, and whenever you copy an instant spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Kalamax. We need to do 2 things. We need to get Kalamax tapped safely so that all of our instants are being copied, and we need to put those 1/1 counters right on Kalamax. Let's talk about the strong, fun, and mean ways that I would build Kalamax. Strong being Flash themed, fun being vehicles, because who doesn't want to see a stegosaurus driving a car, and mean is the control, draw, counter, extra turns version. Let's get into them. For the strong version, we're going to focus on Flash. We want not just instant spells that we can copy, but we want everything coming in at instant speed. As a base level with Kalamax, you're going to want to run cards like Paradise Mantle. It's a 0-cost equipment. With an equip of 1 that says tap, add 1, equipped creature has tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. This is going to allow us to tap Kalamax pretty much whenever we want to make sure that we are fully taking advantage of all of his text. Springleaf Drum, here's another version of this. 1-cost artifact, tap it, tap an untapped creature you control, add a mana of any color to your mana pool. This is a great way to have Kalamax tapped. This is a creative way to do it, and that's with Jiangyangu Wildcrafter, 1 green, 2 other for a legendary planeswalker. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has tap, add 1 mana of any color. And the -1 ability on Jiangyangu is put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. This synergizes in 2 different ways, which are very evident, and I think it's a nice creative way of getting Kalamax tapped. With the Flash sub-theme, we are going to want Leyline of Anticipation in this deck. We just want to be able to cast spells as though they had Flash. This is the entire build of the deck. Quicken, along the same lines, 1 blue for an instant. This next sorcery you play this turn can be played anytime you can play an instant. So it gives the sorcery spell Flash, and it replaces itself with draw a card. Let's look at Savage Summoning. Here's another instant, can't be countered, and the next creature spell you cast this turn can be played as though it can be cast as though it had Flash, and the spell can't be countered, and the creature enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. Kalamax coming in at instant speed, that's pretty cool, because if we have Springleaf Drum on the field, for instance, Kalamax comes in, instant speed, we tap it with Springleaf Drum, we cast some instant, we copy it, they weren't expecting it, everything's happening all at once and faster than our opponents can keep up with. Vivian, Champion of the Wilds, is 1 green, 2 other for a static ability if you may cast creature spells as though they had Flash, so we're just absolutely pumping all of our creatures out onto the battlefield whenever we want. She can be ticked up to give a creature Vigilance and Reach if we need it, and she can be -2 to look at the top 3 cards of your library, exile 1, and for as long as it's exiled, you may look at that card and you can cast it if it's a creature with Flash, because that is her static ability. Howl of the Horde. Let's keep copying all of these spells we've got. Let's get some redundancy on these copied abilities. 1 red, 2 other for a sorcery. Whenever you cast your next instant or sorcery, copy it. You can choose new targets. But if you've attacked with a creature this turn, you can cast your next instant or sorcery and then copy it and then copy it. We're just copying. This is what we want to do, and why? Because we want to cast Electro Dominance, and once we've got a lot of mana put into X, we want to copy it multiple times and try and kill everybody at once. That's what we're going for. Similarly, Expansion Explosion. We want to cast a huge explosion and copy it, and copy it, and copy it. This is what we're looking to do with this deck. That's how this deck wins in my mind. And obviously, we can't play a Flash build without playing Flash Daddy itself, himself, herself, Jin-Gitaxias, Core Augur, 10 for a Flash creature at the beginning of your end step, draw 7 cards, each opponent's maximum hand size, reduced by 7. This is a brutal flash creature and absolutely has to be in here. That's how I would build Kalamax the Stormsire in a strong way, in a flashy way. Let's talk about the fun way that I would build Kalamax, and that is vehicles. If we're going to build a vehicle theme, we've got to build Smuggler's Copter into it, simply for the fact that we're going to be able to be like, ha ha ha, my dinosaur is in a helicopter, here comes Kalamax in his helicopter. It's got, whenever it attacks or blocks, you can draw a card. If you do, discard a card and a crew of 1. Kalamax has 4 power, so we're going to be able to crew all of the vehicles that I'm going to show you. Cultivator's Caravan, we need ramp in this deck, okay? We need some mana to pump into our Electro Dominance, hopefully, to pump into our Explosion, hopefully. Cultivator's Caravan works in 2 different ways. Kalamax can absolutely crew the Cultivator's Caravan and ride the caravan into town, Stegosaurus tail dragging all the way, and it also acts as a mana rock so that we can start ramping up. Sky Sovereign, console flagship. This is one that Kalamax can pilot all by himself, and when it enters the battlefield or attacks it, it shoots a lightning bolt at a creature or a planeswalker. Plus it flies. 6 power in the air ain't nothing to shake a stick at. This dinosaur's going places. Untethered Express kind of looks like a dinosaur, and whenever it attacks, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it. It can be crewed easily by Kalamax, and it's got Trample. This is what I'm talking about. Once he's tapped, also, this is a great way to tap Kalamax, because once he's tapped, then you're copying your instance. Weatherlight's a fantastic vehicle for this, because we're already going to be running a lot of artifacts in this deck. So let's go and get more of those artifacts into our hand, plus it flies. Weatherlight, when it deals combat damage, you look at the top 5, put a historic card in your hand, the rest go onto the bottom. Your artifacts, your legendaries, and your sagas are all going to count for that. Conqueror's Galleon, this is fantastic. When it attacks, it just exiles at the end of combat. As you can see, can be crewed by Kalamax himself, and when it attacks, you're going to exile at the end of combat, then return to the battlefield transformed under your control into a land that's going to let us draw cards. Ethereum Sculptor, now if we're playing all these artifacts and vehicles, let's have them cost 1 less. Let's really kind of lean into the artifact theme. Let's run Ethereum Sculptor and make our vehicles hit the battlefield even quicker. Padim, let's have our artifacts have hexproof so our vehicles, when they're being crewed, can't be targeted down. Plus, at the beginning of our upkeep, if we have an artifact with the highest CMC, which we should if we're running all these vehicles, or tied, we get to draw an extra card. Fantastic. Jorah, Weatherlight Captain. This is another one. It's going to help us cantrip whenever we play these historic spells so that we're drawing cards and keeping our hand full throughout the game. Now, when I was looking through this strategy, I came across Galta. When you've got Kalamax and, say, one of your vehicles on the battlefield, Weatherlight for instance, you've already got 8 power onto the battlefield, so you could potentially drop a Galta very, very quickly. Alright, and then Galta's just going to stomp and be a big 12-12 trampling threat until your opponents can answer it. I think that that's a really fun way to build this deck. Kalamax flying around in a helicopter and just calling down copied instants on our opponents. Let's talk about the mean way that I would build Kalamax, and that is control, hard control. Mean control is going to start with Isochron Scepter. We're already copying spells with Kalamax, hopefully. Let's also have the ability on an artifact so that we can do it whenever we want. Get a counterspell tied up on this thing, and suddenly you've got a very big target on your head from the rest of the table because you'll be in a very powerful position. Capsize. This is the kind of spell that I want to be copying with Kalamax. If you've got 6 mana, you're capsizing and buying it back over and over again already. If we've got Kalamax tapped and we are returning this spell, we're casting it, copying it, returning it to our hand. This is just an absolute shutdown on a lot of strategies, and a lot of players will get you essentially can lock the game out if you've got the mana to be able to do this reliably and just return cards to their hand every single turn. Cryptic Command is a fantastic instant to copy as well. Now it's important to know, like with X spells where the X gets copied when you copy the spell, with modal spells like Cryptic Command, whatever modes you choose get copied as well. So you can't say, I'm going to cast this Cryptic Command, return a permanent, and tap all creatures. Kalamax is going to copy it and then draw a card and counter a spell. It's got to be the same modes chosen. However, you're going to be able to tap all creatures and draw extra cards, or return target permanent to owner's hands and draw cards. And in a pinch, you can just counter the spell when you need that ability on there. Mystic Confluence is very, very similar and mostly redundancy on effects like this. Return target creature, draw a card. Copy that, you're there. Return 2 creatures, draw a card. Sorry. Do it the other way around. Return a creature, draw 2 cards. Counter target spell. This kind of thing. You have to choose the same modes with the copies. However, Mystic Confluence would be a fantastic spell to be copying. Here's one to copy, Nexus of Fate. Let's cast a 5, 6, 7 cost spell and then copy it with Kalamax. This is just absolutely brutal. If you can get this into any kind of loop, then you are going to win the game because nobody else is going to be able to take turns ever again. Dig Through Time. Here's another one. Look at the top 7, put 2 into your hand, the rest on the bottom. Delve can help you pay for it, and Kalamax is going to copy it if Kalamax is tapped. We're going to be digging down, getting exactly the cards we need for whatever situation we're in, and we're going to keep our hand absolutely full. Twin Cast is a fun inclusion in here because you can cast it targeting a sorcery spell, obviously, and then if Kalamax copies the Twin Cast, we can copy the sorcery spell again, so we can kind of backdoor get some sorceries being copied by Kalamax, even though the Dinosaur is not doing it directly. If we're copying things and trying to control this board, having Cryptic Command go off multiple times, let's Thousand Year Storm. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, copy it for each other instant and sorcery you cast this turn before it, plus you can choose new copies, new targets for those copies. Thousand Year Storm, if you can get this absolutely storming off, this is a win con in and of itself. Mizzix of the is Magnus. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell with CMC greater than the number of experience counters you have, you get an experience counter, and instants and sorceries cost less to cast for each experience counter you have. Get this Goblin Wizard onto the battlefield, protect it. It's going to be reducing the costs of our spells. We're going to be drawing cards with multiple casts of things like Cryptic Command, Mystic Confluence. We're going to be drawing into our Nexus of Fate, copying our Nexus of Fate. I can feel you shaking your head right now because this is just the mean control way of building our elemental dinosaur. Those are the 3 ways that I would build Kalamax the Stormsire. Let me know which 3 ways you're interested in building it, or which one's your favorite. If there are any other legendary creatures you want to see me build 3 different ways, please let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, like I said, hit like, hit subscribe. It lets me know to make more of them. If you want to support us further, we have a Patreon. The link is down in the description below. We've got monthly giveaways over there. We're giving away 3 bundles at least every single month, along with a lot of special promo cards. Please go check that out and see if it's a good fit for you. If you want to hang out with us, we're streaming most Tuesdays and Thursdays over on Twitch. We'll catch you later.